I move that we resume consideration of the privileged speech delivered by our dear colleague, Senator Ping Lacson, and allow our colleagues, Mr. President, to ask questions, Mr. President, as committed last week, Mr. President. I move, Mr. President, that we recognize the distinguished minority leader and the Senator Ping Lacson, who delivered a privileged speech regarding the evils of flood control programs, Mr. President. So move, Mr. President.
Senator Ping Lacson and the minority leader, Senator Tito Soto, are both recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the distinguished gentleman from Cavite yield to some questions regarding his privileged speech last week?
Certainly, to the distinguished minority leader, our minority leader, and I cannot let this opportunity pass without acknowledging the exemplary leadership recently displayed by our minority leader. Not many among our colleagues know that he gave way to all the members of the minority. No? Yung membership po ng Commission on Appointments, binigay niya kina Senators Legarda, Subiri, and Risa Ontiveros. Hindi lang yun, pati yung set, binigay pa po dito sa this humble representation. So that's the mark of a true leader, Mr. President. So thank you, distinguished minority leader.
Thank you, kind sir. I am humbled by the manifestation. Thank you. Just to refresh our colleagues also, Mr. President, if I may continue. You mentioned in your privileged speech some contractors and some of the owners. Now, Mr. President, may I go on? The Alpha and Omega Construction and the St. Timothy Constructions were included in the top 15 flood control contractor list from President Bongbong Marcos on during his press conference. And if I'm not mistaken, you also mentioned something to that effect in your privileged speech. Now, on the Securities and Exchange Commission papers, iba-iba po ang owners ng composition of the company. But in actuality, alam ng lahat na iisa lang ang may-ari nito. Same owner of the once blacklisted St. Gerard Construction. Now, they will deny this fact until they can. However, in one of the tax cases filed against them on 2022 before the Court of Tax Appeals, CTA case number 10472, to be exact, the same and one address lang ang ginagamit for St. Timothy, St. Matthew, St. Gerard, and Alpha and Omega Construction Corporations. Also, the majority stockholder of St. Timothy, who owns 85% of the company, named Miguel Juntura, was the marketing director of St. Gerard. The question, Mr. President, billions of government projects concentrated and monopolized by a few. Mr. President, paano nila itong nailulusot? Who monitors this kind of circumvention?
We have an agency, Mr. President. It is called the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, or PICAB, which is the implementing board of the CIAP, a construction industry authority of the Philippines. Incidentally, this authority is under the DTI. Pero it seems na medyo na haluan na rin yata ng konting, o hindi lang konti, nakatiwalian pagdating sa mga flood control projects, because information keep coming in sa aming opisina na itong PICAB nagre-resort na sa accreditation for sale. May mga ganyang reports, and I've talked to some contractors, private contractors, na they had this experience of being offered accreditation by PICAB, na sila na yung bahala sa bank certificate, and other requirements, no? For a fee of, I think, 2 million pesos, no? For a start. So ganito na po kasama talaga yung kalakaran sa ating bureaucracy. And I think in the second hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee, because I believe, as we have monitored, na during the first hearing, guest po ninyo yung resource person nyo yung PICAB. And there's some issues that they could not explain during the hearing. And I think we can take this up again with them, your observation in relation to St. Timothy and Alpha and Omega. Incidentally, Mr. President, Alpha Omega was mentioned by the Pride of Congress, who incidentally is the produced seed of our distinguished colleague, Senator Loren Legarda. Sabi ko nga, move over, Senator Legarda, there's a new kid on the block. And to her credit, she produced a seed named Leandro Legarda Leviste. Nabanggit po niya itong Alpha Omega, na one of the 3 contractors, na involved, na may resibo pa, ang sabi niya. I heard his interview sa radio, TV, and he identified Alpha and Omega ba ito?
Yes.
Alpha and Omega Construction Corporation as one of the 3 bribe givers given through the district engineer of Batangas, First Engineering District, si Abelardo Calalo. And I think we should not stop at filing the information or filing the case with the prosecutor's office of Batangas. I think we should dig deeper into this case. Congressman Leviste offered him to be a state witness, and I think the Department of Justice can pursue this, if only to identify and to catch the bigger fish. Kasi lumalabas ngayon, as I mentioned in my privilege speech, naging bagmen na lang, naging legmen yung mga district engineers. Sila na lang yung taga-takbo ng mga contractors, and who knows, maybe even the funders who are the sponsors or proponents of insertions in the GAA.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. President. May I know how the Philippine Contractors Board is formed? Ano ba ito? Paano nabubuo itong board na to? Who appoints the members? Who elect the members?
Let me look into that, Mr. President. But I think that's a good question to be raised in the second hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee, led by our distinguished colleague, Senator Marcoleta. I-take note natin, Mr. President, so we can ask this question.
That's good. Thank you very much. Now, speaking of government officials, to determine the involvement of government officials or intertwined ownership with those who have been blacklisted or those who have tax evasion cases, do you think we should also try to dig deeper during the evaluation of project contractors, such as going into the layers of their ownership? Hindi po ba dapat ganun ang gawin?
Certainly, Mr. President, we should look into that. Yung interlocking directorship ang tawag doon, na kung saan nile-layer, pero pag tiningnan mo yung corporation documents ng several corporations, nag-i-interlock yung mga director, sila-sila rin. And of course, nile-layer para hindi ma-identify. And this is a practice being committed by, mga unscrupulous corporations that deal with the government, particularly mga flood control projects.
Yeah, Mr. President, your guess is as good as mine also. Hindi ko nga alam kung paano nabubuo itong Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board. Kasi in 2023, the Bulacan River Project amounted to 96.4 million, was deemed completed. However, upon the ocular inspection of the President, stated that more than 200 meters of revetment was not built. And the contractor is St. Timothy Construction Corporation. O sila na naman yun. So after this anomaly, the PICAB, o yung Philippine Contractors Board, no? The PICAB license of St. Timothy was renewed from 2025 to 2027, allowing them to again participate in other massive government projects. How is this? How can this happen, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Most likely, Mr. President, ghost project po ito. Yung minention nyo na 96 million peso flood control project. Ang nangyayari po kasi, Mr. President, as I also mentioned in my privilege speech, minsan yung lisensya ng contractor, hinihiram na lamang ng District Engineering Office at sila na nag-implement. And the District Engineer is the one, you know, upon receipt of the what we call Project Designation Order. So mag-organize na siya, he will appoint the Project Engineer, PE. And he will also appoint yung inspector unit, yung mag-i-inspect. And even if hindi makumpleto yung project kasi nga ghost, no, mag-i-issue na rin sila ng tinatawag na Statement of Works Accomplishment. Puro papel po ang tumatakbo, ang umaandar without the project being completed. And I think there's a failure in the monitoring system of the Department of Public Works and Highways in the central office. Kasi meron silang monitoring office under, I think, under a USEC, ano, in the department. Ito yung nagmo-monitor ng progress ng lahat ng mga projects, not only flood control projects, but all kinds of infra projects under the auspices or supervision of the Department of Public Works and Highways. So I don't know how high up yung syndicate, but it seems that the DPWH has become a playground of syndicates. Kasi nung sinabi nga ni Secretary Bonoan na isolated case ang First Engineering District ng Bulacan, I did not believe him, Mr. President. Kasi mismong ang Presidente, pag nag-iikot sa iba't ibang lugar, may nakikitang ghost projects. I myself, my team, was able to validate this in Nauhan, in Sitio Dike, Barangay Apitong. And I was listening to this interview by Secretary Bonoan. Sabi niya, miscommunication lang daw with the barangay chairman na sinasabing yung project, na sinasabing ghost project, ibang lugar daw. Well, ang sinabi niya, Barangay Dike. Barangay, hindi raw sa Barangay Apitong. Sitio Dike, Mr. President, is in Barangay Apitong. And our basis for locating that particular ghost project declared as completed pero walang project na nangyari, pinabalidate lang namin doon sa barangay chairman and some residents na talagang wala silang nasaksihan na construction ng flood control projects in that area. Kasi isang sitio lang naman to, Mr. President. Ang sinasabi niya, miscommunication, mali raw yung aming team, which I cannot accept, Mr. President, because, you know, I have this habit of validating, counter-checking, validating again before I open my mouth, especially in a privileged speech, because I know I will be fact-checked. You know? And it really happened because andyan na yung media, nagpunta na doon sa mga binanggit kong ghost projects, and they were really fact-checking kung talagang ghost projects. And here comes the DPWH Secretary, no less, no, even accusing us, or insinuating at least, na mali kami, and mali rin daw yung media. So how could the Bulacan First District Engineering Office be an isolated case kung laganap na yung kaso? And man you, Mr. President, yung ginawa namin, in-undertake lang namin mga case studies because I already anticipated that line na hindi isolated case yan. Actually, we were ready to deliver, I was ready to deliver my privilege speech after Nauhan or after Oriental Mindoro. Sufficient na po yung mga case studies doon. But I told my staff, let's wait a while kasi sasabihin, check yan, isolated case yung Oriental Mindoro. Let's go to other places Luckily for us, Mr. President, the President launched 1 week after his SONA, he launched the Sumbong sa Pangulo .ph website. And it was very helpful, actually. And it continues to help our netizens, the media, and other people concerned with the anomalous flood control projects. Ang laking tulong po sa amin because exact location, the website provided us with the exact grid coordinates. Kaya nga pati yung multo, pati yung guni-guni, nakita namin eh. Imagine, wala ka makikitang project, pero natukoy pa rin ng aking team or teams kung saan nakalocate yung ghost projects. Why? Because of the Sumbong sa Pangulo website. Hindi makakaila, Mr. President. That's the reason why we were able to locate several ghost projects, mostly in Bulacan. Kasi as I also mentioned in my privilege speech, yung Bulacan First District Engineering Office, yun ang pinaka-notorious, at least from where I sit, Mr. President.
Ginoong Pangulo, Mr. President, ngunit kung completed na yung project, pag sinabing deemed completed, nabayaran na to.
Babayaran, Mr. President.
Pabayaran o nabayaran na?
Nabayaran.
And there are several signatories like for a project inspection, it has to be declared complete para ma-release yung payment. Pipirma dyan yung inspectorate team, yung assistant district engineer, and the district engineer. At kung sino-sino pa. Paano pong nakakalusot yan? Di alam nila lahat.
Well, they should be held accountable and criminally liable, Mr. President. No, if not
Correct.
administratively, criminally. Kasi kung hindi negligence ito, may criminal may violation sa batas, Mr. President. Kasi why would you certify on something na hindi naman totoo? No? And that's the reason why, kasi naabuso na in the course of time, Mr. President, hindi na nagkasya doon sa tinatawag kong pie sharing. Nagtipid pa, nagmenos pa, ginos project na, minaximize na. Kaya nga sabi ko, hindi na flood control ang hinahanap ng Pilipino, grid control. Kasi nasobra na yung grid na sinagasaan ng lahat. Wala na. Hubris, yung tawag natin doon, Mr. President, hubris. Kasi nahirate, and we also encountered cases or case studies wherein nag-ghost na, pinus pa yung lock harder, ginos pa ulit for the succeeding year. Kasi pagka nag-ghost ka na, ang pantakip mo, yung succeeding year project, di ba? Yung napondohan na naman. Pag pagtakpa na yon, mahirap nang hanapin yung ghost kasi meron talagang project. So meron kami na-encounter na 2 beses pang ginost, pangatlo, saka palang ginawa, pero na-late na, inabot na ng Habagat, inabot na rin ng Krising, Dante, at saka Emong.
Pananaw po ng mga kababayan natin, kung itong mga pondo na to, hindi inilagay sa budget, ganun pa rin ang Pilipinas eh. Pero nakatipid tayo ng napakalaking pera na napunta lang sa bulsa nila. Hindi po ba? Ganun ang nangyayari.
Yes, Mr. President. But kung hindi naman natin popondohan, wala naman tayong flood control projects. Wala naman tayong mga dikes that will protect our farmers in low-lying areas. So I think the better solution is really to, put our foot down on the entire process of implementing projects. From the time a legislator proposes an insertion in the budget measure, all the way sa implementation, dapat talaga mayroong nagmo-monitor. Ang problema, nagmo-monitor dito, Mr. President, DPWH din.
Yung bang pick-up nasa DPWH?
Hindi, Mr. President. This is an implementing board of the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines, which is under the DTI.
Kasi nagbibigay sila ng license eh. Doon sa hearing, if I'm not mistaken, the way I heard it during the last hearing, meron sila nung tinatawag na pickup license na category. May category A.
Yeah.
No, may ganun, ano? Ano po ba ang threshold amount per project that you can bid out?
Meron pong categorization yan eh. Mayroong classification table. Ito, based on the Board Resolution number 201, Series of 2017. Pick up din po nagka-categorize dito. Pag sinabi mong, okay, General Engineering, pagka A, no? Pag sa General Engineering, ang minimum net worth, yung equity, 30 million pesos. Tapos makakakuha ng credit points na 300 points. Merong hanggang sa umabot to sa overall credit points. Now, do sa third stage of adjustment on allowable ranges of contract costs, yung ARCC. No, ang sinasabi rito, pagka yung medium B, ito yung A, kasi large A yung double A. Ang sinasabi, yung single largest project above 75 million up to 150 million pesos. No? And then yung allowable ranges of range of contract cost up to 300 million. Yan po yung pagka ang sinabanggit ko kanina, ang category A, contractor A. Kasi hanggang quadruple A po yan, Mr. President.
So may threshold.
Meron po.
Yun. Ngayon, Mr. President, this is based on records, ha? Yung MG Samidan Corporation's license is category A. All right? Only. Yet, for the year 2022 to 2025, it bagged 58 flood control projects amounting to 5 billion .02.
Lampas po, Mr. President.
So is this it is definitely not within the allowed amount in category A license, ano?
Yes, Mr. President. And this is one of the questions that we should ask PICAB to clarify. Kasi paano makakakuha ng ganong kalaking kontrata kung siya'y medium B or license category A? Kasi sinasabi rito sa table, ang single largest project above 75 million up to 150 million. And allowable range of contract costs up to 300 million. Kasi kung billion, medyo lampas-lampasan siguro.
5 billion po.
Baka pang quadruple or triple A na yan, Mr. President.
5
So we
billion
should
po.
ask
Ito pa.
them.
Maganda ito, lalong sumasarap. In 2019, itong MG Samidan's paid up capital is only 250,000 pesos.
Lalo na, Mr. President.
Ano? Di ba? Come 2022, how is it possible that their financial capacity increased to undertake billions worth of projects?
I think, Mr. President, distinguished minority leader, we should attend the second hearing of the Blue Ribbon Committee and clarify po natin ito. Wala po yung ating chairman ng Blue Ribbon dito, but I have a comment, if I may, Mr. President, distinguished majority leader. September 1 din yata yung first hearing natin ng DBCC. Baka naman pwedeng pagsalisihin natin yung petsa kasi parehong gusto nating mag-attend do sa dalawang all too important hearings. So baka naman pwedeng mapakiusapan natin yung Blue Ribbon na ilihis man lang sa ibang petsa, not on September 1. Kasi September 1,
Is it
I
at
don't
the
know
same time?
kung anong araw yon, but if it's session day,
Parehong time?
maubusan tayo ng oras.
Is it at the same time?
Yeah, we take note of that, Mr. President. We will consult with the chairperson of the Blue Ribbon Committee and the chairperson of Finance, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you, dear colleague.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, during the hearing also, Mr. President, that's why talagang tama, napakahalaga na maka-attend tayo nito mga hearings na ito. I found out that yung blacklisting po nila is only 1 year. I feel that it's too lax a penalty for being blacklisted. Hindi lang yun tapos gagawa pa ng ibang kumpanya. Do you think we should come up with a sticker penalty? Let's say 3 to 5 or 3 or 5 years. Pag na-blacklist ka, dapat 5 taon, hindi ka pwede. What do you think, Your Honor, Mr. President?
Mr. President, I was told that the creation of PICAB is under Republic Act 4566. And I think we should revisit RA 4566 para ma-check natin itong, I won't say anomaly, but itong probably, kailan i-update natin yung batas, Mr. President.
Good, Mr. President. At least we would be able to look into that piece of legislation. Ano? Now,
May I know what construction company are you referring to? Yung maliit ng paid-up capital.
MG Samidan.
MG?
MG Samidan.
Thank you.
All right. Ito, madalas kong naririnig sa inyo ito during not only during the campaign, but many years ago. You're very concerned about the regional development councils, the local development councils. Ang sinasabi ninyo, dapat pag-akyat sa NEP or paggawa ng NEP, nakikinig sa local development councils, sa regional development councils, hindi po ba?
That is correct, Mr. President.
Kaya mahalaga rin talaga itong DBCC na hearing. Ano? Ngayon, why are there flood control projects in areas identified by Project NOAA as having little or none flood risk? Why are we spending billions of pesos on projects that these areas, when many areas are drowning during a single habagat? Paano nangyayari po ito? Ibig sabihin, hindi nakikinig doon sa Regional Development Council or yung Regional Development Council ang humihiling?
Mr. President, this is one flaw in the budget process that we want to correct. And I've been very vocal in this regard. No? Dahil year in, year out, and I hope I have always raised this question. Our colleague, Senator Ligarda, when she was chairperson, paulit-ulit ko po yung tanong, bakit 20% lamang ng output ng local development councils, particularly our regional development councils, ang na-adapt sa NEP? Imagine 20%, and yet, dapat yung bulk ng mga projects, mga PPAs, no? Projects, programs, and activities, dapat ang bulk yan nanggagaling sa local development councils. After all, who would know better the needs and priorities of the localities than the local development councils? Ang nangyayari, Mr. President, alam nyo, yung district representatives natin should be represented in the local development councils, and they are. No, even in the Barangay Development Council, they can send their representatives. And then municipal, city, provincial, pwede sila mag-attend. And that's where they should, debate with the local government units na kailangan nila yung mga proyekto rin sa loob ng kanilang district. Na sa ganon, when the budget call comes, nakasama na sa National Expenditure Program yung output ng mga regional development councils. Ang nangyayari, Mr. President, normally, they don't participate. Why? Because sabi nila, pagdating naman sa Congress, kami naman ang bida. Mag-i-insert lang kami. Ang problema sa insertions, walang consultation sa end users.
Local, yeah.
Sa local government units. Wala rin consultation sa mga implementing agencies. And that's the reason why, again, during budget deliberations, I had always questioned, bakit ang laki lagi ng ating unused appropriations? Nandiyan tayo sa mga 400 billion a year. From 2010, I think, up to 2020, for 10 years, parang ang average natin on a yearly basis, parang 452 billion. Why? Because the implementing agencies would not know how to implement the projects because they were not consulted. And remember when we talked to Senator Mark Villar, some time ago, I thought he would take it against me when he was DPWH Secretary, na binabawasan ko yung budget ng agency niya. And he told us, no, as a matter of fact, we were thankful, even the other agencies, other departments, were very thankful that you were pointing out that the insertions or the amendments introduced or proposed by legislators, hindi man lang sila kinonsulta. And that's the reason why yung unused appropriations kept adding up. Kasi kung hindi nila alam, wala silang program of work, wala silang planning, paano nila i-implement? Ang problema nga, Mr. President, and I think ayaw nating marinig ito, no? The Filipino people hate to hear this, and we are also afraid to say it. No? Pero ang nangyayari, pinapasukan ng personal interest eh. Yung insertions, bisan sometimes nagiging supplier-friendly or contractor-friendly. Hindi na iniisip talaga kung ano yung needs and priorities of their constituents. Halimbawa, nakadeploy yung aking, contractor ako, congressman din ako, nakadeploy yung aking mga equipment sa isang lugar. Yung mobilization nun, pag deploy ko sa ibang lugar, medyo magastos. So doon ako mag-i-insert doon sa lugar na nakadeploy ng equipment ko.
Kahit hindi masyadong kailangan.
Talaga hindi kailangan, Mr. President. And sometimes, alam din naman natin to Mr. President, na yung pagpili ng mga district engineers, mayroong say ang mga district representatives. No? It works both ways, Mr. President. Naglalabi yung district engineer para mapunta siya sa district. Ang gagamitin niyang tagalabi, district representative. Yun naman district representative, gusto niya, bata niya yung district engineer. So pag it has come to a point na pag nag-insert, minsan, hindi na ito hundreds of millions. Umabot na minsan ng 10 billion pesos in one district. We heard stories about, or based on records, isang district 51 billion, isang district 15 billion. Malulunod sila doon, Mr. President. How can one district absorb, ang tinatawag natin absorptive capacity? How could it absorb 51 billion pesos worth of projects in a district? Tell me, Mr. President.
Imposible. I've heard the NCR mayors complaining. Don't you think it's time that the local executives and the Sanggunians be actively involved in flood control projects?
I believe so, Mr. President. No? Kaya lang, pag nag-sign off yung local government units, halimbawa, bago makapag-start ng project, yung contractor sa isang munisipyo o sa isang probinsya, at hihingi pa ito ng permit sa mayor, nadagdagan na naman yung ating...
Yun.
Yan ang problema natin, Mr. President. So I think, ang pakialam dapat ng mga local government units, by way of the Local Development Council, sa planning, Mr. President. Dapat diyan sila mas malaki ang pakialam. And then, after the completion of the project, may pakialam sila to inspect kung nasunod ba yung specs, kung naandyan ba talaga yung project, hindi ba ghost. I think, doon sa dalawang phases na yon, doon dapat may pakialam yung mga local government units. But, in the process of implementation, pag binigyan natin ng poder, at kung mo ng permit, madadagdagan yung slice ng pie, Mr. President.
So mas pwedeng pakinggan itong sinasabi. Kasi si Manila Mayor Moreno, sabi yung 200 flood control projects daw in Manila worth 14 billion ay wala raw lahat permit. So in other words, hindi kumuha ng permit sa kanila kasi. Pero ang sinasabi naman ni Mayor Belmonte, Joy Belmonte, many flood control projects bypass the LGU not as far as permits are concerned, but as far as the redundancy or alignment with their city plans. So more or less, lumilinya sa sinasabi mo, yung
Yes,
sinasabi
Mr.
ni Mayor
President.
Belmonte. All right. Now, one final question, Mr. President, Your Honor. Do you think it's time we put a cap on how many government infrastructure projects a contractor may be awarded? Let's say a maximum of 5 projects, tapos hindi annual. Total, ilang daan yung mga kontratista na yan, napakadami nila. Maraming maliliit, maraming gustong tumulong, nakukupong ng 15. 500 billion, 15. I think it's about time, Mr. President, we study the possibility of having a cap. Will you agree to that, Mr. President?
I could not but agree, Mr. President, na kasama nito pag na-revisit natin yung RA 4566 the law that created the PICAB. No? Baka pwedeng lagyan natin ng cap. Wag naman yung makopo ng, well, there's always 1,000 ways to skin a cat, so to speak, Mr. President. No? Magagawa lang ng napakaraming corporations o construction companies, yung isang contractor, di ganun din ang suma total, Mr. President.
Pero doon papasok naman yung sinasabi natin sa board na scrutinizein nila ang mga members nitong mga kumpanya na ito at kung sino-sino lang.
I agree, Mr. President. This is really a very complex problem. No? Maganda lang, it has come to light because of the SONA of the President, followed up by his Sumbong sa Pangulo website. Kaya medyo nagising din yung ating mga kababayan na maging involved na. Because after all, these are taxes that they keep paying. No? Pumunta ka lang sa mall, sa grocery, taga ka agad ng 12% VAT eh. Wala naman lumiligtas sa tax, maski yung tax evader, hindi makaligtas sa VAT eh.
And
so
also,
we should all get involved and we should all really, for a change, you know. Kaya nga ako, when I was interviewed once, and I intend to manifest during the hearing, the first hearing with the DBCC, gusto ko i-manifest, Mr. President, for a change, i-adapt na lang natin yung NEP eh. So it's all on the executive department. I-monitor na lang natin how, or i-oversee na lang natin how they implement their own budget. No? But you know, it's easier said than done. No? Because we're only one house and we are 24. Of course, some of our colleagues have their own advocacies, no? Well-intentioned as they are, na hindi rin naman siguro papayag na as is where is yung ating NEP.
okay.
But I'm tempted to manifest and even move that we adapt. Wala pa tayong trabaho.
May
Pag-usapan
Mr.
natin,
President, with the indulgence of our minority,
I will just, I can end this now. I can end this, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you very much. At malaking bagay din nakatulong yung privilege speech ng ating colleague from Cavite. Congratulations for that and thank you very much. Majority Leader, thank you.
Yes,
I am
thank you.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Soto,
President.
Majority
Mr. President,
Leader.
just one interjection, considering that our dear colleague, Senator Lacson, made that statement on the National Expenditure Program. I have heard in the news yesterday, or 2 days ago, that some members of the House were saying it's all in the NEP, even those projects that were inspected. So my only question, Mr. President, is it possible that in the submission of the National Expenditure Program, some of the nominations or pet projects of legislators will also be part of the NEP, that it's already there, and therefore you cannot say it's just a executive budget, and therefore wala na sila, excluded na yung kung sino man yung proponent ng isang proyekto. That's a question that I'd like to, just one question.
It is already happening actually, Mr. President. You know, I talked to one official from the DPWH. Nilalako na nila yan eh. Sa NEP pa lang, preparation ng NEP, nag-o-offer na sila sa mga legislators, o magpasok na kayo rito. So it takes two to tango.
And how do we prevent that, Mr. President?
Well, nangyari kay minority leader, distinguished minority leader. He confided to me. Somebody from the DPWH, an undersecretary, called him up, or his staff, ano, nag-o-offer, sabi niya, sabihin mo kay Tito Sen, magpasok na siya sa NEP. Now, if we don't dance the tango with the other party, hindi mangyayari, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, next to interpolate is the gentleman from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
The gentleman from Palawan, Senator Erwin Tulfo, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would like to manifest, being the Vice Chair of the Blue Ribbon Committee, we have already invited the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board on our next hearing, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today with anger and frustration, not just as a legislator, but as a Filipino taxpayer. Because what I heard in the privileged speech of our colleague Senator Lacson is nothing short of a national disgrace. Ginoong Pangulo, ito po ay garapalan at sistematikong pandarambong harap-harapan. Habang ang mga bata ay hindi makapasok sa eskwela at mga manggagawa late sa trabaho dahil sa baha ang kalsada, may mga opisyal at kontratista na nagbubunyi sa kanilang mansyon. Now, will a distinguished gentleman from Cavite yield to some direct and very serious question?
Willingly to the distinguished gentleman from Palawan and the Republic of the Philippines.
Ang una ko pong katanungan, Mr. President, ang pag-i-insert po ba sa NEP o ika nga sa BICAM, kaya bang gawin ito ng isang ordinaryong mambabatas o kinakailangan niyang ika nga maging opisyal o may kataasang katungkulan bilang mambabatas, Mr. President?
Every legislator, Mr. President, is entitled to introduce amendments. No? Hindi natin mapipigil because all of us, ako mismo, nag-amend po ako, nagsasubmit ako ng amendments. When we had this discussion, I had this discussion with the chairman of the Finance Committee, and I right away understood where he was coming from when he was reluctant during my interpellation to accept my supposed amendments na i-identify natin yung mga proponents ng mga amendments. When we had this one-on-one talk or discussion, paano naman Senping, sabi niya, marami tayo, may mga kasamahan naman tayo dyan, mahilig lang magpadagdag, hindi naman naghahanap kung saan kukunin yung pandagdag. And siyempre, ako tagahanap noon, being the chairman, magagalit naman sa akin yung mga agencies na binawasan ko para idagdag doon sa mga advocacies, doon sa mga proposed amendments ng ating mga kasamahan. And that's the reason why I counter-proposed to him na okay, accepted, pero baka pwedeng, pag nakita ko may umusbong sa isang agency, pwede ko bang tanungin sa iyo kung sino yung responsible na nagpadagdag sa isang agency? And he agreed. No? And that was good enough for me because I thought at the time that the outcome would be the same. No? Na ang importante, Mr. President, if something goes wrong with the implementation of the project at na-trace back natin doon sa legislator, congressman man o senador, na siya yung nag-propose, somehow, meron siyang shared responsibility to see to it that the implementation of the project na dinagdagan niya ng pondo, maayos. But, if we don't have the mechanism to identify or to backtrack and trace back to the proponent or proponents of the amendments, then wala, malakas ang loob. Imagine, Mr. President, punta tayo sa Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro. No, kitang-kita na natin, hindi ko nga binanggit yung pangalan niya because I didn't want to mention any name of any legislator. But, initially, when I was discussing with my staff, sabi ko, i-blur na lang natin yung pangalan. No, kasi nag-iisa yung mame-mention. But the day before I delivered the speech, sabi ko, teka muna, bakit ba tayo magko-cover up sa kanya? Siya naman ang umaamin. Nakalagay, funded by his office. Tapos nakalagay doon, congressional allocation, accomplishment report. And then when he was interviewed on the same day or the following day after my privilege speech, wala akong alam dyan. No? But I also pointed out in my privilege speech na sa NEP, 810 million lang yung nandun eh. Pero nangyari, pagdating ng GAA, naging 1.9 billion. So sino ngayon nagpasok ng 1.1 billion? Worse, Mr. President, hindi pa sa regular budget kinuha. Kinuha niya from the Special Purpose Fund, from the unprogrammed appropriations, which is under the Special Purpose Fund. How can you, ngayon lang ako nakarinig na from the regular budget, nag-realign papunta sa unprogrammed appropriations and vice versa. Hindi po nangyayari because yung regular budget, ito yung items in the GAA na talagang ito yung nakakalat sa mga implementing agencies. Now, unprogrammed appropriations under the Special Purpose Fund, ang tawag po dito, standby fund, augmentation. Pag kinapos ang pera sa regular budget, huhugot doon sa program appropriations. And there are requirements. Hindi ganun kasimple. Kailangan merong excess revenue collection or merong bagong revenue measure o kaya may approved loan. Napakahirap pong i-access. Kaya this will be one of the questions that I will raise before the DBCC to ask DBM paano na nakapag-allocate, nakapag-release ng SARO sa isang proyekto na hinugot yung pera from the program fund. Marami po tayong dapat i-correct, Mr. President, kasi ang pagkaalam ko sa budget natin, tatlo po yan eh. Regular budget, special purpose fund, and automatic appropriations. Now, when will we stop? Baka mamaya pati automatic appropriations i-realign na rin.
Okay. Mr. President, sa inyong pong nakaraan na privilege speech, nabanggit po ninyo ang paggamit nga ng unprogrammed funds for flood control projects. Maaari niyo po bang ipaliwanag for the record paano itong mga pondo na ito na na-access at nagagamit despite their nature as one program, Mr. President?
Hindi ko pa may papaliwanag yan kasi mahirap pong gawin yan eh. Ang pwede magpaliwanag dyan, DBM. Paano na-access yung unprogrammed appropriations para i-allocate sa flood control project. Ang masama, substandard pa.
Sa inyo pong research, Mr. President, were there instances where unprogrammed funds used to finance projects that turn out to be anomalous, incomplete, or even non-existent?
Yes, Mr. President. Doon nga, sa case study namin sa Oriental Mindoro, yung 1.1 billion na nanggaling sa unprogrammed appropriations, yung iba doon nahugot para gawin yung isang proyekto na substandard. Kaya nga tigas ng katatanggi yung congressman eh, na hindi akin yan. After owning up, no, by way of billboards, banners, even on Facebook, na siya mismo yung nag-post, na ako yung nag-allocate, talagang ano, sabi ko nga, mapag-angking congressman. Now, it's very easy to deny na siya yung responsible sa realignment or sa insertion because hindi mo matitrace eh, walang record. Sa House kasi, di ba, sabi nga ni Congressman Toby Tiangco, small committee. No? Isasabit sa small committee, and then bahala na, wala nakakaalam, walang record. Even in our case in the Senate, di ba ang practice natin, magko-caucus tayo, and then the chairman or chairperson will just ask the individual members, magsubmit na kayo ng individual amendments. I understand the predicament of the chairman, Mr. President, because if we tackle everything on the floor, hindi tayo matatapos. Kaya ginagawa na lang, for exigency, magsubmit na lang kayo ng written amendments. But, Mr. President, sana man lang, alam natin kung sino yung nag-submit ng written amendments. Kasi meron daw tayong kasama rito, magdadagdag sa isang department ng 5 billion. Wala namang kasama kung saan kukunin. I think we should be responsible enough na pag nagdagdag tayo sa isang department, sa isang agency, tayo na rin ang humugot kung saan kukunin. Para kumpleto kasi zero sum yan, Mr. President. Para bang plus minus, we will end up with the same total. Kasi we cannot increase the budget. We can only reduce or maintain the total net total of the items or the funds for that particular GAA.
Mr. President, you also mentioned coded budget in Bulacan First District. There were 28 projects all pegged in 77.199 million. Sa dinami-dami po ng ahensyang naghimay-himay ng budget, bakit po nakalusot? Bakit ngayon lang natin ito nakita? Bakit tila hinayaan natin na mangyari ito, Mr. President?
The same question lingers in my mind, Mr. President. Paano nangyari? I cannot answer your question, Mr. President.
Mr. President, sa darating po na budget deliberation, paano po ito dapat bantayan, lalo na ng mga parte ng inyo pong grupo ng minorya?
Well, sa akin, one good deterrent is to identify the proponents of the amendments or insertions. Malaking deterrent po yun. Kasi sa ngayon, malalakas ang loob na mag-insert in the billions or tens of billions of pesos kasi alam nila hindi naman sila ma-identify eh. But if they know that the records would show kung sino yung mga nag-introduce ng amendments or insertions, then that's a good deterrent. Hindi lang yun, Mr. President. Sabi ko nga kanina, there will be a shared responsibility on the part of the proponent or proponents to really monitor yung implementation ng mga proyekto na sila mismo yung responsible for the insertion.
Mr. President, to what extent do members of Congress or local officials have discretion or influence in identifying flood control projects in their areas, Mr. President?
There should be no discretion, Mr. President. Dapat ito nakapasok lahat do sa local development plans being submitted all the way up, from the Barangay Development Council to the municipal or city, to the provincial, and eventually to the regional development councils. You know, I'm glad that the President issued Executive Order number 82, enhancing or strengthening the regional development councils. And I hope maging active talaga yung mga regional development councils, yung mga local development councils in the crafting of the National Expenditure Program. Ang problema, the timing is off. No? I heard from most governors na while the budget call happens sometime in February, March, April, prior to the zone of the President, kasi within 30 days, kailang may sabit na yung NEP sa House of Representatives. The problem is, hindi pa tapos yung mga regional development councils. Late na sila. So hindi na sila makakahabol sa budget call. I think DBM or the DBCC, Development Budget Coordination Committee, should take a second look doon sa timing or the pacing of the budget process. Mauna sana dapat yung pag-submit ng mga regional development councils. Anyway, members din naman doon yung mga regional directors ng national agencies, along with the governors. Dapat mauna sila bago mag-budget call. Na sa ganun, nakasynchronize yung mga needs and priorities ng mga local government units doon sa ipiprepare na National Expenditure Program or the President's budget.
Pangulo, nabanggit din po ninyo sa inyong nakaraang privilege speech na may mga contractors tulad ng Darcy and Anna Builders, Wawaw Builders, that are repeatedly implicated in fake or recycled projects that are so-called ghost or guni-guni projects. Bakit po nangyayari ito? Ano po ba, meron po bang pamamaraan, Mr. President, na maiwasan na ito sa susunod, na ito po'y matanggalan na lisensya, na ito po'y makasuhan para hindi na po umulit pa?
Rightly so, Mr. President. We really should run after these people, But, of course, we also have to rectify yung mga flaws sa ating sistema sa gobyerno rin. Because it is the PICAB that issues accreditation, even to agencies na nabanggit na nga ni Minority Leader kanina, na may kaso na sa Court of Tax Appeals. Nire-renew pa yung accreditation. Tapos single A lang yung ang categorization, bibigyan mo ng pagkalakalaking proyekto. So these are things that we should tackle when the Blue Ribbon Committee resumes its hearing, next hearing. We should raise this issue with PICAB, with DPWH, with all the agencies that should clarify these matters.
Mr. President, I have last two questions. Would the good gentleman, the former chief of the Philippine National Police, that the existing or that the specific gaps or loopholes in the current accountability chain from project design to fund release to monitoring allow corruption and inefficiency to persist unchecked?
We should not allow, Mr. President. And we have this mandate of oversight, because pag nagpasa tayo ng batas, our duty doesn't stop there. We should monitor, we should exercise our oversight function as members of the Senate, as members of Congress, to see to it that the law that we passed are properly implemented. In this case, the General Appropriations Act.
Mr. President, would you agree to have an independent third-party inspection of projects to detect ghost projects or substandard construction in real time? Kasi po, may sabwata na ang DPWH at ang COA. So, sang-ayon po ba kayo na magkaroon ng third-party inspection?
Sang-ayon po ako, Mr. President. Distinguished gentleman from Palawan.
regarding calls for independent audit investigation, would you support including local community-led monitoring or citizen reporting platforms to add another layer of oversight, Mr. President?
I agree, Mr. President.
Finally po, Mr. President, would you happen to know ang contractor na kamag-anak po ng isang COA official or other government agencies?
Alam po natin lahat yan, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President. Now I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo, Majority Leader.
Yes, so Mr. President, next to interpolate is our Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros. I move that she be recognized.
Senator Risa Ontiveros, recognized.
Salamat, Mr. President. To my respected colleague in the minority, maaari po bang makapagtanong din ng ilang mga tanong?
Opo, to the distinguished lady from Capiz.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, sa privilege speech nyo, nabanggit nyo po yung mga questionabling proyekto na ipinasok sa General Appropriations Act. Paano po ba sinisigurado na yung budget na pinasok para sa mga proyekto ay napupunta sa piling contractors, Mr. President?
DPWH po ang makakasagot niyan. Sila kasi nag-a-award. No? Sila yung may Bids and Awards Committee. Sila lahat yung responsable pagdating sa implementation. Ang sa atin po, yung oversight nga, na which is what we're doing now exactly, Mr. President. We're exercising oversight over those projects in 2024, 2025, even 2023.
Salamat, Mr. President. Kaya talagang magiging napaka-importante ng papel ng DPWH dun sa pagpapatuloy na Blue Ribbon Committee hearings na lalahukan po natin mula sa Minoria, whether to prove us right na pwede tayong may assumption of regularity or tumulong sa Blue Ribbon at tumulong in the wake nung inyong explosive na privilege speech, ipakita o ibunyag yung katotohanan kung paano maaring kahit yung ilang mga kawani or opisyal nila ay naging kasabwat pa sa katiwalian. With all the safeguards naman po sa ating bagong-bagong amyendang procurement reform law, sa modus na inilarawan po ninyo, Mr. President, sa inyong privilege speech, may mga contractor pa rin na nakakalusot. How are they therefore able to game the process? Kaninong approvals mula sa gobyerno ang kinakailangan ba nila para ma-fix ang bidding, makagawa ng less than standard projects at makatakas pa sa pananagutan, Mr. President?
The real culprit here, Mr. President, is collusion. Without collusion, hindi po pwede mangyari ito. We encountered one DPWH official. Hindi ko na sabihin ko anong lugar, pero minor official po ito na nasa District Engineering Office. No? Ayaw nyo pong mag-sign off kasi member siya ng inspection team. Pagka may ganun, hindi makakalusot kaya merong isang ayaw makisama. So the real culprit really is collusion. Pag nagkaisa-isa yung sindikato, patay na si Juan de la Cruz, Mr. President.
At alang-alang kay Juan de la Cruz, sana, Mr. President, mabuhay yung ganyan mga minor members.
At mabuhay si Leandro Legarda Leviste,
mabuhay
Mr.
si Leandro
President.
Legarda Leviste.
No, this is
Opo,
the
Mr.
first time that I
President.
heard na yung congressman mismo ang nagpa-entrap doon sa nagbabribe sa kanya. No? It's really a breath of fresh air. No? Hindi, talaga, no, not because Senator Legarda is here, you know. Hindi ko kaano si Leandro, but I feel very proud of him, ano. And I'm proud to be associated na at least colleague natin sa Senate yung nanay niya.
Speaking as a fellow woman, maraming salamat po para doon, Mr. President. At sana nga po, yung nararamdaman po ninyo, Mr. President, na breath of fresh air, pag pinagsama-sama yung mga dumarami at lumalakas na efforts sa ngayon, yung sinight po ninyong website na nilaunch ng Office of the President, yung inyong privilege speech, Mr. President, yung pioneering effort ni Representative Leviste, yung pagpapatuloy ng ating Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, ay sana po talaga magkaroon ng isang kind of counter-collusion dito sa collusion na sinasabi nyo nga, Mr. President, na yun ang pinaka-culprit para itong mga krimen na ito and continuing crimes na ito ay hanggang ngayon, hanggang sa point in time na ito ay hindi pa effectively challenged. Baka ngayon po ay pwede po nating pagtulong-tulungan lahat.
Yes,
dito
Mr.
sa
President.
Senado.
If it's not asking too much, I would like to propose that the Sumbong sa Pangulo website be expanded to cover other infrastructure projects, hindi lang flood control. It will really help a lot because it helped us a lot in preparing our privilege speech. Ang laki pong tulong talaga.
I can believe you, Mr. President, at sana agad maipahayag iyon ng ating PLLO sa Office of the President. Yun naman pong ilan sa contractor na sangkot sa flood control project scams ay hindi po first-time offenders, Mr. President, at na itanong na rin po ito sa inyo ni na Minority Leader at ni Senator Erwin din. Halimbawa, St. Gerard Construction na pagmamay-ari din ng mga diskaya, blacklisted na po nung 2020 pa lang, di po ba? Nung 2016 naman, nasuspindi sila, pero ayun na nga po, nagpalit na lang ng pangalan, nakakuha pa rin ng 440 million pesos worth of contracts. At isa pang halimbawa, yun na nga pong Ed Marie, hindi po ba na mayroon na yung track record ng serious contract violation. So, meron po tayo ditong mga recidivist, mga repeat offenders, Mr. President.
Yeah. What can I say, Mr. President?
What can we say, Mr. President? So, ito po yung usapin ng blacklists. Tinalakay din nga po ni Minority Leader. How would blacklists work if, yun na nga, nagpapalit lang sila ng pangalan, Mr. President? Sa kaso nitong mga diskaya, mayroon silang St. Timothy, Alpha and Omega at St. Gerard nga na pinag-usapan nyo earlier. Tapos ngayon, lumalabas na may isa pa, Elite General Contractor. How would blacklists work kung nakapagtatayo lang din ang mga contractor ng bagong kumpanya para ikutan yung blacklist na yan? At bakit pa tayo nag-blacklist tapos nakakabalik lang? So, ang tanong ko po, Mr. President, how? How can we impose a true, effective blacklist kung saan yung mga abusadong contractors hindi na talaga makakuha ulit ng kontrata? At ito, napag-usapan nyo rin earlier, Mr. President, kay Minority Leader, hindi ba dapat sinuspindi na sila ng PCAB mismo, ng Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board? Di ba dapat may one-strike policy tayo? Or sila, yung PCAB mismo, Mr. President?
Yes, I think, sorry, a closer coordination and cooperation, interagency, SEC, PCAB, DPWH, at least magkakaroon din ng checks and balances. Kasi siyempre magre-register yung corporation sa SEC or kung sole proprietorship sa DTI. So kung ma-check by way of good record check and background investigation, kung blacklisted, maski iba yung pangalan, matrace nila na pareho rin pala yung mga incorporators, wag na lang nila i-register as a corporation sa SEC. So a close coordination and cooperation between and among the different agencies of government. Wag lang sila magkukulud. No? Dapat check and balance sa halip na collusion.
Agree, Mr. President. Sa halip na collusion, which is lalong na-expose na ito talaga yung krimen dito sa flood control projects or kahit pa, as you were saying, Mr. President, sa ibang mga infrastructure projects na dapat ma-cover din ng isang sumbong website. Maigi nga po kung may interagency coordination. Also to make each and every agency in that group an honest broker. Kung alam po ng PCAB na ngayon po sa interpellations na ito, nagkakaroon tayo ng duda kung nandun sila sa isang interagency body. Tama po kayo, Mr. President, mas makaka-check and balance, pati sa isa't isa sa pagganap ng kanilang tungkulin. Pagdating naman po sa proseso ng post-construction phase, ito na pag-usapan nyo rin with Sen. Erwin, hindi ba dapat nakatutok ang COA dahil sa mga multimillion projects na ito para mapigilan ang katiwalian? Kaya lang nga po, Mr. President, lumabas nga po sa balita over the weekend na ang asawa ng isang COA commissioner ay nakakuha di umano ng humigit kumulang na 200 million pesos worth ng flood control projects. Ibig sabihin, so ito, umaalingaw sa isip ko, Mr. President, yung termino yung collusion, yung mismong opisyal ng ahensyang na atasan i-audit ang mga proyektong ito ay tila may connection sa modus ng flood control. So, paano kaya, Mr. President,
Well,
kapag
Mr. President, nabanggit ko rin to sa aking privilege speech. Kasama ko 0.5% to 1%. Pag malaking project, payag yung COA, I believe they are referring to the resident COA. Payag sila sa 0.5% kasi ang laki ng project, volume Pag medyo alanganin yung project, medyo maliit lang, hindi mapayag ng 0.5, kailangan 1%. So kung kasabot pati yung COA, kasabot yung inspector team, kasabot yung district engineer, kasabot yung project engineer, naloko na, Mr. President.
Naloko na, Mr. President. May layers of collusion pala na pinipil away lang ngayon.
Well, you know, Mr. President, coming from law enforcement, ako laging ang aking, where I'm coming from, gusto ko talaga merong certainty of punishment. Kasi pag hindi napaparusahan, lalong na-embolden, at the same time, lumalakas sa loob ng mga susunod, nakakalusot naman gagaya na rin ako. Pero kung merong maparusahan, mag-iisip na maraming beses yung susunod. Mahirap na yan. Merong naparusahan, merong na-convict, merong nakulong. That's the problem, Mr. President.
I agree, Mr. President. Yan ay problema at kaya nakikiisa ako sa panawagan nyo, Mr. President, na nabasa ko, narinig sa media recently na dapat talaga may kahit siguro isang malaki na mapanagot dito sa flood control scam na ito bilang deterrent nga for future crimes or criminals to think to commit such crimes. Nakikiisa ako dahil yan din ang paniniwala ko sa pinakamabisang deterrent sa krimen. Kahit pa sa pananaw ng restorative justice, ito ang pinakamalakas na deterrent ay yung certainty na yung gagawa ng krimen ay mahuhuli, maiimbestiga siya kapag at mapoprosecute at kung guilty siya ay masisentensyahan, mapaparusahan. Huling tanong ko na lang po, Mr. President, may paraan, dahil pinag-uusapan natin layers of collusion and therefore dapat layers of accountability. May paraan ba para mahabol ng gobyerno yung mga contractor at i-compel sila na tapusin ang kanilang mga proyekto at their own cost? Magkano po ang porsyento na napupunta ulit sa warranty or performance bond para sa mga
10%.
nasirang
Yeah,
10%. Ang laki. So, anong pagwawasto o indemnification ang maaaring singilin laban sa mga contractors na may mga proyektong nasira, Mr. President?
Depende sa violation, Mr. President. Kung obvious naman, lalo na kung ghost project, alam nga namang i-repair lang nila yung ghost project nila. Dapat yon talagang prosecution kaagad ang katapat.
Opo. Alam nyo, Mr. President, sa privilege speech nyo at lahat ng mga sumasabay na developments, nagkakaroon tuloy ng bagong kahulugan ng ghosting. Hindi na lang po sa mga personal na relasyon, pati po sa relasyon dapat ng gobyerno at private sector sa ating mga mamamayan. Dahil tama pong sinabi nyo, Mr. President, ang perang ginoghost dyan sa mga proyektong yan ay galing talaga sa buwis ng mamamayan. So in closing, Mr. President, lubhang nakakabahala ang tila sabuatan, collusion nga, na nagaganap sa pagitan ng iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno para makakubra at makalusot sa modus ng flood control. Mula sa mga baluktot na contractors na gumagawa ng substandard at ghost projects, sa mga opisyal na mga ahensyang naatasan mag-implement ng mga proyekto na pumoporsyento naman sa mga proyekto, ang ibang mga politiko o nagtangkang maging politiko na nakikinabang sa pondo ng bayan, hanggang pa sa ilang taga-COA na dapat nire-review ang mga kontratang ito pero tila naging kontratista rin. O mga PICAB na kailangan pang patunayan sa Senado, sa Blue Ribbon na ginagawa nila ang kanilang tungkulin talaga. Marami pong salamat muli, Mr. President, Senator Lacson, sa pagbibigay liwanag sa issue na ito. At ngunit, Mr. President, totoong hindi ito nagtatapos dito. Maraming salamat po, Senator.